is the second of 3 videos for this chapter 3 on queries, and it will basically be about the same as the hands-on exercise 2, which is in the book, starting on page 203. Okay, so last time we did some calculated fields with the price per square foot. I'm going to do a couple more calculated fields. One's going to be the payment. What's the monthly payment for these properties if we do buy them? If you're going to have a query that's similar to one you already have, so I'm saying this query is going to be similar to the last one. I want the same fields and everything, so I'm just going to make a copy of this and then change that one. So one way to do it is to right-click on the query here in the navigation pane, click copy, and anywhere in the white area, right-click again, do a paste. And this one's just going to be mortgage payment. Click on OK. You have a new query now. And I'm just going to right-click that, go into Design View. And now I'm ready to start changing this to what I want for the mortgage payment. Okay, I'm going to do the price per, or actually I'm just going to continue over here. I want a new calculated field, so I'll scroll over till I get a new window here. And I'm going to actually use what's called the expression builder here. Now the expression builder is useful if you're not real sure about your calculation. It can help you build your formula and things like that, but usually I just type it in this area. But one good thing the expression builder is good at is with it has some nice built-in functions. Like there's a function in there to calculate the monthly payment for a mortgage. So if you put your cursor in a new area here on the grid, the first one available, go up here and click on Builder. It gives you this expression builder area. Now you can do a lot of things in expression builder. The hands-on exercise will lead you through some other things, but this function one is what I want to talk about. I'm going to click on the plus next to the function here, and then built-in functions. This one is a financial. And finally over here on the right is where your PMT is the function we want to use. Double click that, and it puts the function up here for you. Now there are some parameters here that we need to fill in. That's what, like the rate here is considered a parameter for the PMT function. That's why they're in parentheses. So for the rate, let's just use 6%. That's what the book says to use. I'm using the values on the top of page 209. Even though 6% is a little high right now. Type in 0.06 divided by 12, because this needs to be a monthly value. Number of periods, the number of months in the payback. This is going to be a 30-year, so 360 payments. The present value, just deleting this out, is really the list price. So this is going to be the value of the mortgage. List price times 0.9, because we're going to borrow 90% of the value of the property. I forgot my closing bracket here. Okay. The future value, well, we want this to be paid off fully in the future, so the future value is going to be 0. And then finally this last field, this type field, or parameter, should also be 0. That just means we're going to pay interest in arrears at the end of the month. Okay, so that's just the formula. We still need to give the name to this calculated field. So you got to put your cursor in the very front of this. I'm going to call this my payment. Then you remember you put the colon in there, and now we have the rest of the function there. I'm going to click on OK. Before I even run this, I'm going to format this as a currency value. Remember to do that, make sure your cursor's on that field. Go up here to Property Sheet. Come down to the Format property, and then choose the currency value. Once you've done that, you can close the window. I'm going to run this, see if this worked. Hopefully it will. Okay, so there's my monthly payment. Now you can see there is a parenthesis around those values. That means that's a negative value. For some reason, this PMT function calculates a negative value for your payment. I guess it's because you're actually paying off a loan, so you're subtracting from the principal amount. But typically you think of your payment in a positive value. So you can go over here, you can go back to Design View. An easy way to change this is just to put a minus sign right in front of the PMT. That changes it to a positive value here when you run your query. Okay, so that is using the expression builder in a built-in function. Those steps are also, like I said, in the hands-on exercise. The other thing I want to show you is a date function, or a date value. Might be nice to figure out how long these properties have been on the market, how many days they've been on the market. That's sometime an indicator that you can negotiate a little bit better. So I'm going to create another calculated field called Days on Market. And I'll show you another feature of Access called the Zoom window. Sometimes this is a pretty small area to type into in the grid here. So if you put your cursor there in the first available area of the grid, and then hold down the Shift key and click F2, that'll bring up the Zoom window. And now you got a little more area to type. So I'm just going to call this new field Days on Market. And remember to always put the colon. Here's a function that it's actually a value. It's a reserved word in Access. You can use the word now. So now means today. So if I take now minus the listed date, and I'm going to put that field now minus listed date will give me the days on market, hopefully. I'm going to run this, and oh, I did something wrong. If you ever get enter parameter value when you're running a query, typically that means you've used the wrong field name, or you've misspelled it, or something like that. Now I said listed date. If we look, it's really date listed. So I'm just going to cancel this. Go back into my Zoom window, Shift F2, and just type the field in correctly this time. It should be date listed. Yeah, date listed. Okay, so that looks good now. Now I'm going to run it. Scroll over to see. And again, I got all these pound signs. That typically just means the value's too big to show. Now I don't want all these decimal points. So again, go back to Design View. Click on that new field. Go to the Property Sheet. This time, decimal places, I'm just going to say 1. Will be fine. Run it again. Scroll over. Okay. Oh, days on market. I still didn't get that. Let me see what I did wrong here. Days on market. Property sheet. See if this will work better for me. Okay, so I got down to my 1 decimal point. I probably could have said 0, because who cares if it's on the market for less, for, you know, part of a day. Anyway, now how do I know if that's correct? Again, I should just check the date listed. Here's one, January 24th, 2012. Yeah, that's going to be 2 years old pretty soon, so that looks pretty good. Here's one I got. I changed this date listed actually to just a month ago approximately, 8/5/2013, and it gave me 30 days. So today is September 4th, so yeah, that looks pretty good there. I'd feel good about that. Not sure why the 0.5, like I said, I should have changed that to 0 for decimal points, because it looks like it's given a half a day to everyone, which that's not realistic, so I would have changed that to 0 decimal places and it would have been fine. Okay, that's it for the second video. We'll pick up aggregate functions in the third video.